The NFL had a couple rule changes. I guess the votes went down today, and the famous of the two was number one, the Tush push ban that was proposed by the Green Bay Packers did not pass, and second of which was the playoff reseeding, where the divisional winners wouldn't get the automatic home game. It would be strictly off of record per conference. That was withdrawn. That was proposed by the Cowboys. Let's start with the Tush push. Mike, the Tush push not being banned, it sounded like I was under the impression that this was going to be banned, and they sound like they changed their tune a little bit, and the Tush push is here to say, what's your reaction there?
I like it. I never understood why people wanted to ban it in the first place. I understand its dominance. I understand that maybe teams out there think that it's an unfair advantage to Philadelphia. But I challenge teams to stop it, number one. And number two, figure out your own way to do a damn tush push. If this is something that is so broken within the league, figure out a way to do it. It's similar. Did they ban the shotgun formation, Kyle? When people, started going, doing the shotgun formation and spreading receivers out wide? I think this is just one of those unstoppable plays in football where defensive coordinators are going to have to figure out a way to stop it. And they haven't. And the Packers have been a huge team on trying to get this thing banned. And from my understanding, what I just read here, Eagle owner, the Jeffrey Lurie, made an impassioned speech in defense of the play. So tempers were high, apparently, during these meetings. So I'm happy that Tush Push was there to say. I also saw that Jason Kelsey flew in to defend the Tush Push as well. I'm completely fine with this sticking around. I like the play.
Yeah, the way I look at it, too, is the timing of it all. If you were to ban it the year after the Eagles won a Super Bowl, it makes it seem like it's a bit reactionary to the Eagles winning a Super Bowl and less about the actual play. Mm-hmm. If they had been a divisional round exit and then they banned the play, that's one thing. But the fact that this was the best team in the NFL by and large by a considerable margin, I think it's a little bit. It would look poor in the optics of it all because it seems like you're doing it because the Eagles are too good and not because the play is faulty or malfunctioned or leads to more injuries. You're doing it for the wrong reasons if you were to actually ban it at this time. Now, my perspective, I agree with Mike that it was there. They're not exploiting anything. They have a 250-pound quarterback. You're allowed to go get a 250-pound quarterback. They have three maulers up front who combined for 1,000 pounds. You're allowed to go do that. You're allowed to run this play. But you can't do it to the level that they can because they perfected it and you haven't. So that, I don't think, is the perfect way to address it. But it also would seem reactionary if they were to do it in contrast because the Eagles have won this year. That would be the bad way. That would be the bad way to do it.
It seems like a witch hunt to that point. It seemed like a witch hunt. I don't necessarily understand the Packers really going to bat for this.
The Patriots and the Jets voting ban too. You guys never play the Eagles.
That's what I mean. I don't understand why the Packers are totally in on this. And listen, apparently Mike Vrabel has a problem with it too. I like it. I think it's one of those weird little quirks that Philly has in their back pocket that they could call in, and that's what separates them right now. Those third and shorts, fourth and short, that's what separates them right now from other teams. They got a play in their back pocket that they're able to consistently draw up. I like it. Guess what? Learn how to stop it and deal with it. Defensive coordinators, the Packers. I can't wait until Kyle, I don't remember the schedules off the top of my head. I can't remember if the Packers and the Eagles face off again this year. They played Brazil last year, but I would love to see the first touchdown of that game, that hypothetical game, be a tush push by Jalen Hurts. It'd be poetic justice to me.
Yeah, we had Evan Cohen on during Theoretically Speaking a little couple hours ago, and he said the one thing, he's like, I better not see the Packers running that play anytime soon. I tend to agree. I don't think you'll see that because I think it really lends itself to whether the quarterback's willing to do it. But yes.
Do you think teams are going to try to do it, Kyle? I mean,
if they have the right player, I don't see an idea why not. Yeah, Buffalo could totally do it. Buffalo should learn how to do it, honestly. But I mean, it's all about your interior offensive line, and if you have a quarterback that's above 230 pounds that can withstand number one, the beating, but number two, can physically overpower people just off being a runner. So I think you'd have to go down the list, and there's a slim amount of quarterbacks that are big enough. And more importantly, Anthony Richardson has gotten hurt so much, but he is a physical, a prowess individual that is big enough to be able to do it. Josh Allen, of course, is the obvious one. But there's not many guys. You know,
No.
they're not doing it with Dak Prescott. They're not going to do it with Jared Goff. You know, they're not going to do the tush push 6-7 times a game like the Eagles do. They're not doing that with Tua.
No.
So there's only a handful of guys that I think it only lends itself to, and half the teams don't even have the interior offensive line, and then the other half don't even have the quarterback. And then there's 2 or 3 that I could actually get away with it, and it's the Bills and the Eagles, probably. But nonetheless, what about let's flip that a little bit. The Lions withdrew the proposal to reseed the postseason playoffs. It sounded like they wasn't going to get the steam it needed in order to pass. They withdrew it. They've passed on it. The playoffs are going to stay the same. What's your reaction there?
I never thought the NFL playoffs had any problems. I'm completely fine with this not passing. I'm completely fine with the playoff structure as it is. I think in baseball, you're flirting with too many teams. I think in basketball, certainly with the play-in tournament, I can't stand that. I'm completely fine with the way the NFL playoffs are. Now, there is something when the NFC South is so terrible and they get a home game. That's just the luck of the draw sometimes. If you win your division and you hang a division banner, you're going to get a home game. I like that. I have completely no problems with it. And this is coming from an AFC North fan. So,
if there's a division where people get burned by it, it's the AFC North.
I have no problem with this staying a thing. So if you win your division, and I think it even with the good teams, right? You take a look at the NFC East. You know, it's a great division right now. I think Dallas is going to be good. Obviously, Philly, the defending Super Bowl champ, and you had 2 teams from there last year be in the NFC Championship game with the Commanders too. So you don't necessarily see them complaining about this either. I'm completely fine with the NFL current playoff structure. You shouldn't change it. You don't need to change it.
The one thing I'll say is if the tush push got banned, you would be a little annoyed by it at first, by the optics of it and the principle of banning something that one team was great at. But I probably would have gotten over it because at the end of the day, it's just one play that basically one team runs. Everybody's going to figure it out at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
That would have a pretty marginal effect on my life and my viewing experience watching the NFL. The playoff seeding structure, I'd have a real problem with because I think it impacts how teams view regular season games. And I think, therefore, that would diminish rivalries, that would diminish playing teams twice in a season, and more importantly, that would diminish Week 18. That would be my takeaway. And maybe what people would say is, well, the whole idea of reseeding the playoffs is to make Week 18 more interesting because if you have a random divisional game, it's all about the regular seeding and nothing about the actual division winners. Well, I would say, the whole point of the divisional games is that they are more important. Yeah, you're not going to have every game being important in the NFL in the last week of the season. Keep the divisionals big, keep them important, keep them storied. 100% agree with you there. 888-760-3776, the number to get into the program on Russo and Rizzo.